What is up, ladies? Okay. Crash Course Physics. The 10-second animation sequence encapsulates how... That's actually kinda catchy. All jokes aside for today, we're gonna learn how to dodge responsibility. And a quick fun fact for this note, dodging is actually the best, most efficient way to avoid dying. I'll give you some quick examples and some tips on how to use your arrow keys properly, and not just navigating around the Pornhub screen. So, welcome to the Dodging ABC. So, this is a subject very close to rushing, which also makes it relevant for me to talk about that topic. So the first tip I'm gonna give you is scan your surroundings for any sort of danger, if there's something that can or may inflict pain on you later on in the fight. A good example for this would be the tomb, where there is quicksand. It is a huge advantage to recognize your threats beforehand. Also, if you're fighting in the ocean trench, maybe you should go get some air before you go into the battle, or maybe there's some phases that Thessal can't take any damage, so you might as well just get some air. It's really beneficial to think this way when entering a dungeon or a boss fight. Now the second tip for this video is know your status effects. Probably one, if not the most important thing when rushing or dodging. Which shots do armor broke? Which mobs inflict paralyze? Is there any sort of tower or pillar I have to take down to avoid getting armor broken or slowed or quieted or weakened? These things are very apparent in boss fights such as the Marble Colossus. In the tomb, there's these pillar towers that shoots out things, as well as in the secluded thicket on the last phase. I have been fucked up countless times by scarabs in the tomb, for example. And if you don't know what the status effects means and what they do, I can happily say that I'm going to make a video on that topic in the future. Now, the third tip is improving your WASD game. I can't say this enough times, the more you play, the better you are gonna get at dodging. A very good way to practice dodging, I would suggest a dungeon such as the Lair of Draconis if you're not into high tier dungeons. I've been told by a guildie that the shot pattern that the Black Dragon has is pretty much the same as the Marble Colossus, so you can practice on that. Also, prefer your shots. If you see two shots coming towards you, it's an armor broken shot and a sick shot, you gotta know in which situation would you prefer each of these status effects. For example, if it's in a large crowd, you got a bunch of enemies, I wouldn't pick the armor broken, because then you're gonna get fucked. And if you are a archer with low defense already, you might as well take the armor broken instead of the sick, so you can take some healing potions if you need to. Now for a little bonus tip, if you have lag/delay on your game, I would recommend you to fix that as soon as possible if you don't want to die. Like, go to your graphics settings, put all the quality of the UI on low, and remove enemy health bars, remove the damage text that your teammates produces, all these things. Get rid of that shit if you are lagging. Also, very important, disable the Particles Master option. Also, I decided to make this category a thing on its own, which is Confusing Debuff. Status effect, whatever you're gonna call it. It's annoying as shit anyway. This debuff is lethal. Very lethal. This debuff is given by blue stars, blue shurikens, yellow stars, sand devils. This debuff controls both your screen rotation and your controls, which is left equals down, down equals left, right equals up is right, rotate left is rotate right, and rotate right is rotate left. Just don't attempt memorizing this. This is from pure experience. If you want to go somewhere where it's not lethal or dangerous for you to practice it, I would recommend you to go to the Highlands. There's a bunch of monsters there that gives you the Confusing debuff. I also believe that the Sand Tornadoes in the Lowlands gives the debuff, or else it's weakened. The most annoying form of Confusing is probably the one that only lasts a couple, like 1 second or so, because you can't get used to the controls. You'll always just walk around. When you try to navigate as the confused trolls, it switches back to the normal controls, so you mess it up. The fifth tip is find the blind spot. Most of the time there is a blind spot when fighting a boss or some kind of mob, especially on the Void Entity. I'm almost always able to find a position where I can't be hit by the enemy. And the easiest way not to take damage is not to get hit at all. But if you find yourself in front of an enemy that target locks you to shoot at you, I would recommend you to move from side to side to avoid it. Sometimes it's all the way in the back and sometimes it's in the front, for example in the shatters, where on the phase right before you test the Patient of Regard phase on the Forgotten King, you can stand right behind him and not get hit by any shots. You can also stand behind him in the first phase, but it's a little more risky. It really depends on the player and how secure you are in your gameplay, which is something you probably want to get better at. And that's why I'm gonna ask you now to type in the comments how you felt about this tutorial. Was it helpful? Did you like the style of editing? All that kind of crap. And if you feel like there's something you want to get better at in Realm of the Mad God, I might be able to help. After all, it's 6 years ago that I was introduced to this game. And I have like 2,000 minutes on my night? Jesus, fuck, I have no life. But please tell me your ideas and send this video to BeCuriBox so we can have him see this video. I would really like him to, cause why the hell not? I think we pretty much reached the Sia point right now. Yeah, we did. You get this tingling feeling? See ya! That was good.